Hi Nia, welcome to our virtual violin lesson today. Um, in this lesson we're going to be going over our essential elements for strings book, Violin Book 1. It's the one you have there at home. We haven't looked at it too much in our live person lessons, but we're going to go right into it today. So starting from page 4, look at number 2. And it says, let's play open D. So let's check our open D really quick. I'm going to play it. It's this second to lowest string. So see the thickest string there? That's G. Then up from there we go to D. So it's that second lowest string. Not the bottom one, that's the thickest, but right up from there. And so we're just going to play this in guitar position for now. So the violin goes against your tummy here. And then in your left hand is where you're going to be playing on the neck of the violin with the tapes. And then our right hand is going to do a little strumming or plucking, or we call it pizzicato for violin. So on page 4, we're going to start with number 2. It's called Let's Play Open D. We have 3 quarter notes there, so it's just going to go D, 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 and then we have a quarter rest. So we just don't do anything for the rest. And you look at the next measure. So 1, 2, open D, 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 rest, D, rest, D, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, rest. Nice. So how many open Ds do we play in those last 2 measures there? You'll see it right there. We have 7 Ds. So if it's helpful to count to 7, go for it. Now let's move on to number 3. Let's play open A. A is going to be the next string up. So we just played D, which is right here. And now we're moving to A. It's the next higher string. So it's just going to be a little bit thinner. That's how it produces a higher sound. And it's just the next one up to the left if you're holding your violin like this. If you're holding your violin like this, it's to the right. So that thinner string up is A, 2, 3, rest. Now let's try number 3 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and A, 2, 3, rest. A, 2, 3, rest. A, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, rest. Nice. So let's talk about how we're going to be picking or plucking the violin here for pizzicato. We're going to take our thumb and we're just going to push it against the string until our thumb moves against the string and falls onto the next string down. You see that? So I'm playing D here. We'll go D, and then my thumb jumps to the A string. So watch. Right here, I have my thumb on D. I'm wiggling it, and I pluck it, so I just put a little bit of force on it as if I'm wiping a little bit of Cheeto dust on my shirt or on the leg of my pants or something, right? So just that same motion is going to be how you're going to pluck the string. So we're tugging on D a little bit, and I'll go D, and look, my thumb is landed on A. So once I play, my thumb lands on the next string. See that? So let's try A now. We'll go A, rest. A, and then my thumb rests on that E string. You can barely see it in the camera, but that's it right there. So A. See how the thumb rests? Nice. So now we're going to move on to number 4. We're putting both of those 2 strings together in one little line. We'll go D, 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 rest. A, rest. You ready? You see where we are? It's number 4 on page 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 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 rest. A, rest. D, D, A, and D, 2, 3, rest. Nice. So now that we've done 1 through 4 together, let's do number 5, and then we're going to pull our bow out in a minute. So number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 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 A, D, rest. A, rest. D, D, A, D, A, D, rest. Nice. So if you need to rewind that at all, if it feels like it's just a little too quick, rewind it. You can even play it with the video tuned back a little bit so that it just slows down. But let's move on for now, and we're going to pull out our bow. So first we're going to set our instrument down on our lap, or if you have a safe place to set it down where it's not going to fall, that's great too. In its case, is probably a good idea for now. And let's look at our bow. So the hand we're going to use for our bow is our right hand. Don't get confused with your left. Okay, so your left, if you're looking at it, is going to make an L, and that's how we know it's left, right? That's one good trick, but if you can't remember your lefts and your rights, ask a parent or an adult in the house. They'll help you out. So we're going to take our right hand out right here, and we're just going to hold it down like it's a zombie, right? Like our hand is turning into a zombie, but the rest of us hasn't gotten there, right? So our hand, the tendons and the muscles in here are going to be perfectly relaxed because we don't have any control over them anymore, right? They're just going to hang there. And look what happens when you do that. See how your pinky is a little bit higher than the other 3 fingers here when we do like zombie hands? See how the pinky is higher? We're going to use that to our advantage on the violin. So that pinky is going to fit right on top of that screw. So see the screw of the bow here? That's where our pinky's going to land. So zombie hands with our right hand, and then we'll lift the bow into the hand, and look, the pinky lands right on the metal screw there. And it's just going to stand upright as if the pinky is a ballerina and its feet are pointed, right? Just like that. And then the other 3 fingers are going to come down nice and naturally, and your hand is going to turn into like a triangle shape here. So watch. This is that triangle to here and then to here. Bit of a triangle going on, right? Nice. So one thing to make sure of is that your thumb here is nice and relaxed. We'll know our thumb is relaxed when it has an open curve. If our thumb is not open and it's like that, see how my thumb is closed? That's not what we want. It's going to prevent your fingers from being able to use all their muscles properly, and it's going to restrict your circulation to your fingers as well. Not a good time. So to make sure we can play nice and smooth, we want to be able to do little wavy, flowy hands here, right? So that we get our wrist feeling good, and then we drop a zombie hand down, bring the bow up into our right zombie hand, pinky, and then our pinky hits the screw, pointer finger comes up to this grip here, or on the metal grip, whatever works for you, and your hand size, whatever feels comfortable. And then the other 2 fingers are just going to fall down below the line, like the frog here, which is the bottom of the bow. So it's going to look a little bit like that, almost as if your bow's a mountain, right? Like the side of a mountain, and your hand is getting ready to climb. Doop, 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 right? So that's kind of the motion we're looking for. And that pinky is where a lot of your power for the bow is going to come into play. So it's going to help you go woof, right? Imagine your bow's an airplane. Remember our airplane exercises? Right? And just try doing that and focusing on making sure you have a nice curved thumb, that like a C. Your thumb is nice and has a C curve, a round shape to it. Not like that, not a duckbill thumb. That's not what we're looking for, because that'll hurt your hand. Let's go open curve. Nice, and just like that. And this takes a very long time to master, so if it's not coming to you perfectly right away, you can always try and drop your pinky underneath here if that's just a little more comfortable right now. But yeah, we'll work on it in person more as well, so I hope that's helpful with your bow. Now let's pick up our instrument. So we have our violin in our left hand here. We're holding it by the neck, and this is our ready position. If you need an example, you can look at page 2 and 3, and it'll show you how to hold your violin for ready position, guitar position, and then upright position for playing, for shoulder position. So we have our violin on our knee here, and our bow in our hand, ready to go. We're on our lap. And then we're going to lift our violin up. And now watch. So face forward. And when you lift your violin up, make the scroll go perfectly forward, like as if into the direction that your nose is pointing. Your nose and your feet should all be pointing in the same direction. Then move your violin like that so that it's perfectly straight for you. And then move over to the left just a few ticks, maybe about 15 degrees. If you don't know what that looks like, it's just like from here to here. And now what happens if you go a little too far? If you're going like a perfect 90 degrees, the violin is going out with your shoulder that way, you're going to end up hurting your left hand wrist here and your right hand arm shoulder, because you have to reach so far to get around to the violin. So bring your violin right to the center and then just a little bit to the left, and that'll be exactly where you want it. So one other thing, we got the chin rest. This is a little misleading, right? Because it's not for our chin, it's for our jaw. So the jaw is right here. This is your jawline, and that is where we're gonna put the chin rest. Just like that. So my chin isn't actually touching the chin rest, oddly enough. All right, so we got our instrument up. We want to make sure we have a nice flowing wrist here. That's where our palm and our forearm are just like one straight line. Very good. And then we want to make sure our wrist here is not touching the instrument. We should definitely see a gap here. And then we want to make sure that the croissant on the top of the violin is not falling, right? We don't want that croissant falling on the floor. Nobody wants a dirty croissant, right? Let's keep it up in the air. And let's start right from number 2 on page 4 again. It's just open D. So we'll go D. Nice. So that was just that first measure. See if you can try and play with me here. We'll go down bow, up bow, down bow. And for this, just focus on balancing on D, right? Making sure that you're just playing the D string, not D and G or D and A, right? Just D. And for now, let's just do a quick little airplane exercise. Ready? 1, 2, airplane landing on D. 3, 4, and D. And then it lifts off. You want to try that again? Ready? Airplane landing on G this time, the lowest note of the violin. So the airplane's in the air, right? Ready? Landing on the runway, it's going to land between this bridge and the bottom of our fingerboard. Do you see that? So 3, 4, and G. 2, 3, 4. Nice. And now, one thing you want to be careful of with our airplane landings, and let me see if you can see it a little better from here, is that you want to make sure your bow is not going diagonal. See how if I have the violin right here, our airplane landings have to be perfectly on the runway, which is between here and here. You see that? That's our runway. So the airplane, the bow, is going to go right along there. And it's got to stay perfectly on the runway, otherwise it crashes and burns. Not a good time, right? So when our bow goes off at an angle like this, you're going to get a really scratchy sound. I'll play it just a little bit so you can hear it. And you might be familiar. Learning the violin is a very tough thing, so you'll come across these sounds every once in a while, and then you just got to know how to adjust to find the right sound. And so if we're right here and we're doing an airplane landing, and the airplane is going way, way off the runway here, this is what it's going to sound like. Yeah, not a good sound. Now what if we go this way off the runway? What if we go diagonal this way? That's not it either, is it? Okay, so now imagine the plane is going perfectly on the runway. This is a trained pilot here, right? Let's go. And then they lift off again. You want to try that? So bring the violin back to your shoulder here, and I'm going to play it like this so you can see where my bow is going. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Nice! And that was my lowest string. Let's do the G again. That's the lowest. 1, 3, 4, airplane landing. Nice! Nice, very good. And now let's do it the opposite way. So let's try airplane landing going this way, going backwards. So from the bottom of the bow to the tip. Ready? Airplane landing on G. 3, 4, and then back in the air. Lift off, right? So now let's do another quick little bowing exercise. We're gonna go from G and then freeze at the tip. Awesome, so I'll give you a chance to get there. So freeze at the tip once you play a full down bow on G, and then when you're here, look at my elbow. See this elbow here in my right arm? This right there is gonna drop a few inches and we're gonna go to D. You ready? So we're at the tip of the bow. On G, you can crunch it to really hear that note, and then we're gonna drop our elbow, we'll find D. So ready? Here's the drop, boop. Did you see it? Very subtle, right? But that's gonna bring you straight to D. And crunch it, just to see if you can make sure you have that note there. Right? So now that we're on D, and we're at the tip of our bow, frozen, right? We're gonna go the other way. So we're gonna go D, 2, 3, 4. Nice. And if you can do longer than 4 beats, awesome. But if not, that's fine too. So I'll wait for you to get to the frog here of that long D going up to the frog. Ready? So 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, and then freeze at the frog. That's where we're at on the bow. And look at my elbow. See how it's bent? We're gonna drop my elbow, and it's gonna bring the bow from D to A. So watch. So dropping the elbow a few inches, boop. You hear that? Nice. So now we're gonna full down bow on A. So we're at here on A, 3, 4, and A, 2, 3, 4, and then stop at the tip. Then what do you think we're gonna do? We're gonna adjust that elbow down a few more inches. So we're at the tip, crunch an A just to make sure we have it, right? And then we're gonna drop that elbow and let the bow move with it. And we're at E. So you wanna make sure you're not playing just the side of the violin, right? You wanna make sure that the bow is on the string, because otherwise you get this airy sound because you're playing the wood of the violin. But we're at A, and then we go, and that's E. So A is here, and then we drop our elbow, and we're at E. And then we're gonna do a full up bow on E. 3, 4, and E, 2, 3, 4. Nice. So we're gonna do all of that again, and we're gonna put it together, okay? So if you had trouble with that, go back to the video and try some of those parts separated first, and then try it all together. So we're gonna start at G. We'll go full down bow to the tip, then we'll go to D. Full up bow to the frog, and we're gonna go to A. And then full down bow to the tip, and then E. And then full up bow, okay? Here we go. 3, 4, and G. 2, 3, 4, and freeze. Drop the elbow, crunch D, make sure you have it, and D. 2, 3, 4, and freeze. Drop the elbow, A. Make sure you have it, and 3, 4, and A. 2, 3, 4, and then freeze. Drop that elbow. And up bow on E. 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Okay, so when you're doing this, I want you to keep practicing them, but make sure you're lifting the bow off so that you can hear the violin resonate as you're playing. So watch this really quick. Instead of stopping the bow like, right? See how the sound stops? We're gonna try and lift the bow off like our airplane landings and let the sound resonate. So now we're gonna move really quickly into the next page here. And let's just try number 6 on page 5. This is jumping jacks, and we're gonna try it with our bows. Ready? So get that bow position ready. We got pinky on the screw. We got our wrist here off of the violin, right? Wrist is not touching right here. We don't want pizza wrist. We want nice, flat, statuesque wrists. Very good. And number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and rest. Rest. And D, D, A, and D. 2, 3. Nice, very good. So if you're playing this and it sounds like we want to make sure we're using more bow. So really focus on pulling your whole hand with the bow and just brush the bow along the string, the full distance there. And it'll give you a nice open sound to work with. Let's move on to number 7 really quick. Mix them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest and A, D, A, rest and D, A, D, and D. Rest. Good job. Awesome. So now we're going to go back to number 5. So we're just moving back a little bit here. Page 4, number 5. And I want to try this one with our bow. We did it with our fingers earlier, but now we're going to bow it. So let's make sure we got that bow position ready. We got our pinky on the screw. We got our pointer finger on the grip. And then our hand looks like it's ready to climb a mountain. And we have like a little triangle shape here going on. Do you see the triangle between the stick, the point of your hand, and the other side of your hand here? There we go. So number 5, at Piero's door. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest and A, rest and excellent. So if this one's difficult, especially at measure 2, I want you to try something a little different here. So if at measure 2 you play D, and then once you get to that rest, if you're just blanking out and you're like, well, it says rest, we just gotta chill here, right? Not always the case. So when we have a rest, we want to make sure we're preparing our bow and our instrument or our fingers to make sure that we're ready to play the next note, because that rest might come up real quick. So let's try from measure 2 at number 5 again. So it's D, rest, A, rest. See that? So we got to make sure we take that rest and use that time to prepare our next note. So drop that elbow, find A, and then at the next rest we raise the elbow and we find D again, right? So number 5, one more time here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and D. Rest and A, rest and nice. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. I hope you learned something here. Let me just go over my notes here real quick, make sure I got everything. Excellent. Well, I will see you next week. Keep working on page 4 and 5 together. If you'd like to, move on page 5. Go to number 7, 8, and 9, and see if you can do those in guitar position first, and then try them with your bow. And that goes for all of these ones that we're learning at the beginning here. Plucking always helps to do it first, and then bring your bow in, and it makes it a lot easier to understand what's going on. So, yeah, happy practicing, and I hope you have a great 4th of July.